Soon as we step on the mic, man, you notice the difference. Heavenly blessed with the melanin, baby, you know that we winning. No time for the long talk, got 120 on the clock. Wednesday, 8 through 10, all the bad vibes better stop. Cause you gotta come with that energy. Casual convos, baby, come down and just sit with me. Lil' Coco be spitting that remedy. Casual convos, baby, come down and just sit with me. You better take this shit serious. She dropping knowledge on hitting this free for the play. Tap it right now if you curious. We got the ham radio going lit every A. We go from people to family to pilots. Stay with me if you got something to say. Know it's important if we go acknowledge. Speak on the business and get out the way. What you gonna say about my mama? She winning, you rockhead.
Hello, welcome to the Casual Conversation Show, where we have conversations about topics that affect the communities, personal and business relationships. We always have the casual convo, so you don't have to have the tough convo. I'm your host, Coco, and joining me are my peeps. Oh, we got Jude, the defendant, Baltimore's own, Baltimore's most creative, one of the best artists ever. And we also have, more than you can see, the king, the mayor of Asheville, very hands-on in the community. Hello. You on mute?
Okay, hello there, y'all.
Hey, Paul.
How's everybody doing?
Hi, Coco.
Hey. All right, so tonight, we had a good show. We're going to talk about a couple of different things, but we want to get a little bit back into, for those who, I don't know if you're new, there was a time where, and I'm going to try to go back to the method of where we would talk about like literally community issues, like things for us, like how we communicate, things that we can do to better our unification. And then we're going to still do the political aspect of things, but we're going to try to like merge the two and bring them together. Okay. So with that being said, let's get started with the mental health check-in. I think I'm gonna let y'all go first because I wanted to elaborate on something.
My mental health is chills. It's maintaining in the land of the free. It ain't nothing free, not even the air. But yeah, that's it.
Oh.
I'm not gonna complain. Like I tell everybody around here daily, I'm above ground another day, so I'm all right. Whatever things they thrown at me during the day that's causing me to have to struggle and strain my brain or whatnot, it's all gonna be all right. Cause I mean, you're gonna be able to fix what you can and what you can't. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry. I was on me. Okay, so I'm gonna go. My mental health is good. It's positive. I'm going to say there are days. But what I wanted to elaborate on also is I was asked a question by someone who I think they were fairly new to like watching the show and watching what we do, and they noticed the mental health check. And I was like, how do you do that? Mental health is because mental health is important, and I believe in leading by an example. I believe in we need to practice what we preach. So we're up here talking about the significance and the importance of mental health, especially among Black and brown people. And really, it's not a Black and brown thing; it's an everybody thing. But the only community that I can really speak for is my own community, and it's something that we tend to shy away from, or there's this stigma, or this what's the word I'm looking for? There's a dark cloud around mental health and the importance, and we think it don't work, or I don't, and we focus on the things that's considered negative that tear people away from it, but we don't discuss the positives. We don't discuss the helpfulness that it does do with people who really need the help. And we've seen people in our own communities who is in the middle of a mental health crisis, and then one day you might see them and they completely gone in psychosis, right? And then you may see them again and notice you haven't seen them for a while, and they may seem what we consider normalized because they've been treated. And those are the effects and the positive effects of mental health awareness, getting the help. And so I think if we project the message of how important it is to help people, send a message, let them know, okay, the SAMHSA line, you can either text or call the 988 number if you feel like you're in crisis, not just for suicide, but that number is also good for like depression, or if you're having a bad day, you need somebody to talk to. There are therapists, there are licensed therapists that will help you. There's so many outlets and communities, and when we talk about it, we give that. So that's one of the things we try to do to highlight the importance of mental health, because if your mind is not stable, yeah, you tend to make bad decisions, poor choices. Everything can seem to be off when you're not thinking clearly. So mental health is extremely important, and we want everybody to take their mental health important, like seriously, and really, if you feel like you need the help, get it. And you can do it in secret. It's so easy. You can just go online and it's telehealth available, and it's included in all of your insurances. So take advantage of it while it's still there before they take it from you. So I just wanted to elaborate on that. And when the person came to me, it wasn't negative. It was just like, you know what I mean? Because you don't really see it too often. Everybody's just like gossipy, gossipy. Like, we would never make fun of somebody going through something. We do like to touch on those topics that really help, because some people might, oh, y'all just be fussing. No, we're really spreading light, and this is how the community feels. And then you have most of us, like I know Judah and I, we work in healthcare, so we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we wouldn't spread that message. And then you have Paul that's in the communities, he would be doing his community a disservice if he didn't, talk about that. So I just kind of wanted to spread a little bit more insight on why we do that. Any questions? Y'all wanna say anything on on the back end of that before we get started?
Mental health.
I mean, yeah, or anything I just said.
I will say this, because pushing it to like accountability, you kind of do yourself a disservice when you know something is wrong, but won't go and get the help. I know a lot of people are afraid. Well, stay away. I can't say that. A lot of people used to, because a lot of people more now are into like the healthy mind, healthy life kind of thing. But I'm echoing the healthy life, kind of thing. I love that about today, because more people are trying to live a more stress-free peace. That was that thing I had sent you earlier when you said you couldn't see it. It was a thing about a lady was talking about it's a lot of children separating themselves away from their toxic family and toxic parents, but they were talking about a lady, a girl who declared her peace from her mother, but they still live in the same household. And they was talking about how so many people want this independence but still want to be dependent. And it's unfortunate that young lady lives with her mother, but you don't know why she live there, and you don't know what she going through in there. And sometimes that's the situation that people be in. And because she chose to take a stand, and hey, I gotta put some I'm in this house with her. Yes, this is her roof, but mentally, that's how people end up on the news or on them crime documentaries, because other people don't care about your mental health. You're not taking care of your mental health. People pushing them buttons regardless, you feel me? And some people can escape, the people who are causing those things, or the environment. Some people can escape it. Some people got to make do with the situation that they in. So don't do yourself the justice, and regardless of what it is you got to do, find yourself the peace for you to be able to deal with your own mental. So hey, I do appreciate the outside of here. When I am having my bad days, I don't have no problem with picking up the phone and calling whichever friend going to listen. And I don't have no problem with them calling me. You feel me? Like, sometimes you need to get it off your chest. And if you don't have nobody to talk to, write it down. Like Coco said, if there's a lot of telehealth people out here now, there's now, taking stuff, you feel comfortable doing that, but take care of yourself, man. Unapologetically take care of yourself.
I definitely agree, 100%. Okay, Rich is telling me to move on. Question. So before we get started on tonight's show, we're going to read a disclaimer because we have some videos to go along with the topics. So, disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Thank you, Rich. So, with that being said, um, our first topic, y'all ready?
Of course.
Okay, so the first topic we got up is now all of these things, even though they're hot topics, we're going to take them and make them relatable to our own, and we're going to do it the casual convo way. So the first topic we have up is Druski versus the mega churches. So we do have a clip of the skit. So whenever Rich is ready, you want to write.
You want a revolution? I'm gonna have Wanda stand up here. Wanda, please. Wanda told us earlier this month that she cannot have a baby anymore. So I impregnated her with the word of God. I'm going to impregnate everyone with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. Impregnate. I had somebody in the congregation ask why I'm wearing Christian Dior and Christian Louboutins. Because I'm a Christian and I walk in the blood of Jesus. Give him some praise. I'm a Christian first and I walk in the blood of Jesus. Give him some praise. Give him some praise. So we are raising funds for a project in Zimbabwe. Yes, we are trying to get our congregation over in Africa. Amen. We wanted to raise $4 million for that. Amen. Yes. Hallelujah. That needs to appear today. We are not letting anyone leave until we reach our goal. Amen. Hallelujah. Life savings here. Give him some praise for that. Give it his life savings up. Apostle Richie says, baby, can you help me? I said, can you help me? I said, can you help me? I'm gonna finish this word here, and I'm gonna do the Christian version. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna do the Christian version. I'm driving this Bentley Bentayga because I believe in Christ. Can you leap on your legs like a survivor? Can you leap on your legs till the money fall out your pockets? Jesus, you are, Jesus, you are, Jesus, you are.
Still praise the Lord.
I need you to pray for my wife. Hey, come on, man. Hey, get your hands off my car. You gave tithes and offering? No. Back the fuck up, man. What's wrong with you, man?
Well, there we have it. So, okay. So with that being said, this has went completely viral, and it also caused a disturbance. There are a lot of mixed reviews from what I've seen in reference to this particular skit. There are several church folks that are upset, and then you have some people who get it. And there's also truth in comedy. So I kind of wanted to start with you guys' take on the video first before I get into some takes I wanted to take from it.
First of all, it was freaking hilarious to me. It was so hilarious and so accurate that it's crazy, because you seen the pastor come in, flying across the congregation, and got up there, was preaching, they locked the doors. We always talk about the mega church, man. The mega church from Baltimore. My uncle, it is probably is. I don't know what he is, but I grew up with one of those kind of pastor of the church that he talking about. You feel me? Like everybody can see them, but we see this all the time. The thing is, what's that one? Michael Todd, the one that it's funny that he did it, and then he did it exactly like how they are, like completely like how they are. I found that hilarious. That was just as hilarious as the one where he was doing that. That's right. That's right. With the Israelites. I think it was brilliant and creative. The church needs to look into that.
I didn't get to see the video y'all was watching because it kept freezing up on me. I catch a part here and a part there, but
Hey,
yeah, it was freezing up on me. We might be getting ready to get the snow down here.
You got that Verizon
yeah,
tonight.
you must got Verizon.
No, because I can hear y'all. Can y'all hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay. Can y'all hear me now? But yeah, I seen some of it on Facebook where people had posted stuff. I mean, it's been lifelong known, say that you can always expose the truth through humor. Now see, some people gonna laugh and accept it, and then you will have those that's gonna get mad because they know they are on the other end of that joke. Or them skits, they know they on the other end of that. They know they up in these big mega churches, siphoning people dry and shit, flying around in planes, and people ain't even got a Volkswagen to ride around in their home. They know they doing wrong. They don't think nobody's supposed to call them out on it. So hey, I mean, it's funny. It was real funny. When I seen that, I bust out laughing. I mean, shit, right. He trying to build a mega church over in Africa. Everybody gonna give $10,000. Yeah.
They needed $4 million today. Lock the door.
No, but also what I found, it was definitely comedic relief, but this reminded me of like old school comedy, not new school comedy. And I knew people would be offended, but this was my take from it was he literally took headlines that a lot of mega churches have been in and a lot of pastors have been in for being deceiving.
Greedy.
and deceiving the congregation and different things, and then how they put the message of greed and money into their sermon. And it was pretty, he didn't just get it from anywhere. So my question to y'all would be, with especially like the Black church being under so much scrutiny, what would you like if you had to like say if someone asked you about this video and they were like one of the people who are opposed to it, who feel like he's making a mockery of the churches, what would y'all say, or how would y'all have that conversation? And why do you think Black churches are being under so much scrutiny today?
Well, it's not only the Black church, because Creflo Dollar is a white man, but and Creflo Dollar is a white man, and I feel like he is that thing be on the TV in the middle of the night on Sundays, and he is scared. That big old mega church, you know, and all y'all know who the Baltimore pastor was, is now the Atlanta pastor. Y'all know
a lot of the Black people are being highlighted in the a lot more.
You know why? Because Black people, like that one Michael Todd, I ain't really know too much about him because he's a youth pastor, but I went and looked him up. You know, that's the thing. You ain't even you don't even have to. I knew some of I knew about the pastor flying, knew about the lock the door, and I already know about the building fund. That's been a thing since the beginning of time in the Black church. The pastor driving around in a nice car, wearing a nice suit, fancy this, fancy that, and the church ain't had an update since it was built. You feel me? I know that has been a talk in the Black community with the church since forever. That thing right now, he looks scary. Imagine you waking up in the middle of the night and he on the TV talking about the Bible.
His church used to be rocking because people come on like, especially them late drunk nights and what nothing else on, and you had to watch him and the people in the wheelchair come down the aisle. I remember him.
Yeah, but he looks scary.
Man, ain't nobody watching them damn crazy ass people. Not no middle of the night, especially
Not
not mine. I'm
listen,
sleeping.
right?
Yeah, shit.
Listen,
Yeah, I
my
do that.
girl will tell you. I listen. He scared me one day. I was terrified. The Antichrist. That's exactly what I call him, Antichrist. But anyway, Michael Todd. Let's talk about him real quick, right? Because one person who everybody keep bringing up about the Druski skit. I didn't know nothing about him. He's a youth pastor, and I actually watched his video. Like some of his, I couldn't even get through him. It was one in particular where he up there, he's singing song. I forgot what song he's singing, but he like throwing food. You like throwing food all over the. I guess that's his church, the stage, and then he took and poured freaking syrup all over the thing, like all over the Bible, all over, and he was like, "It's just the Bible," and it's just they make such a mockery out of the black church, out of church in general, because it's not just a black thing. It's just that as a black person, that's exactly who we related to, because that's what we see in the church. The black church is something else. Like they've been doing a bunch of stuff lately, like over years. This ain't nothing new either. This is something that he grew up and he even saw it, but now you get to put it out there. But that Michael Todd guy is such a fraud. Everybody been talking about it. Our grandparents been talking about it. Was the stuff that been going on in the church. The pastors only trying to get your tithe money and all that stuff, and he did his thing with it. He did his thing. He it shouldn't have made nobody. But go look at that Michael Todd guy. He's something else. He's something else.
He ain't doing nothing that Reverend Ike and them didn't do before him. I mean, religion is always. That's why I don't get caught up in religion and Christianity, all that stuff, because it's just a hustle for them. And when I say them, not all of them pastors, but some of them so-called preachers. Not the pastors, but some of them so-called preachers. It's always been a hustle. Everybody's going to divinity school and getting divinity degrees online and everything. Everybody's becoming a preacher because they're not all becoming pastors. So now they ain't got up in there. We had one sweep through his old doggone. I'm gonna tell you what. We had one sweep through his old doggone fast. He came down here as supposed to be a pastor at a church, because brought down here for that purpose. He got into the church, then he dipped somewhere else over into another establishment, and funds got dispersed wrongfully. So he dipped from that and opened up a whole lot of business, and went and shut down the church. Told people, "Hey, we're not having church. Church is gonna be shut down. Y'all got to find somebody else to preach." And he didn't got paid. A damn criminal. I mean, a damn con man criminal. I told him. He first got here, I said, that man right there doesn't mean no good. He is up to no good. He came, he's all right. He's good people. You need to stop talking about him. What did he do? He hit him all in the damn head. Then got paid. Came down and got a damn business for $1 a year lease down here. $1 a year lease for the building. Then you want to charge people $1,200 an hour or two for the damn building use of some space in the building. Damn crooked ass. But yeah. So now he's not considered preaching no more, but now he calls himself a Rami Davi, something like that shit, some kind of crazy shit. But this person is into wanting to have what you call the doggone guys who dress up like women and stuff, them little shows and stuff. Have that stuff for kids to see. I thought you were supposed to be the preacher. You come down here being the preacher, man, supposed to be saving people. Now you want to have stuff like this down here. I'm telling you, can't. I feel so far back away from the church. I hate that I did, but I did it. I don't feel so far back away from the church. Now I observe the church from a distance.
Listen, the pastors have been showing off, Paul. They've been showing off. The church been showing off. I
listen to the gospel music, and I read and I study and all that stuff. I just want to go to the churches because I just seeing the way that these guys operate. I mean, like I said, Reverend Ike and all them guys, Big Daddy Grace and all them back in the days. When they done it, was just a couple of them. Not everybody in the damn world is cunning everybody out of money. Everybody. And I mean, it's just sad. I went all upset, but yeah, it's just sad.
When I was smiling at Paul, I wasn't smiling at you. So for those of you watching, we are blaming Rich behind the scenes all night tonight for these comments. So, but what I will say, in reference to what you guys were saying, I think the biggest issue is like when I hear people who are against the particular skit that Druski said, I think it was hilarious. But like I told them, what you should be upset with is the pastors, is not all of them, but there is a nice percentage of pastors who are out here that this is their representation, and it takes away from the word. And when you start to bring in greed, when you have pastors locking doors or asking for specific amounts of money, like that, I think that's where it goes into. Now, there's one thing if they're driving Bentleys and they got the Louis Vuittons and without all of that other stuff. If they stop laughing at him. If they have like I said, you do have pastors that may write books or they may have work jobs outside of preaching or what be it bishop, whatever their title is within the church, that do have outside jobs, or like you have some pastors who decide to do podcasts, or again who write books. Now I can see if that it's their money, if they want to buy it, then cool. But when you have these pastors that's what we would say scamming the churches, the church people, who, because you know, most of, I can only speak for the Black community, we lean on religion hard. And we feel like, oh, we got to give to the church. And we have family members who will give the church everything because the pastor said, we got to give everything and I'm going to get my blessings in abundance. You know, and when that message starts to be portrayed, yes, you give your tithes and offerings and all that stuff. But I think today we're seeing a lot of pastors taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest issue. So what I would tell those people before you get mad at Druski, the material came from somewhere. Just look at the headlines. They are real pastors that's been making headlines for low-key bullying their church into giving money in today's economy.
Oh, but you know what the internet did? Once people start giving slack, the internet just start pulling out. You see, Druski ain't in. He did his big one. The internet starts saying, "Well, all he ain't doing nothing but what he see." And then they put a video together with a skit from a actual like preacher doing exactly what he did. Doing exactly what he did. Hey,
He got the material from somewhere, but I also think it also exposes something that we talked about a lot before too. Is okay, y'all. I'm not to stutter and go back. I'm just going to collab the two. So I've been watching old episodes of Def Comedy Jam from when Martin read. So we talking about what, early 90s? So you get on my fucking nerve. So,
Jesus, you are.
Watching old episodes of Def Comedy Jam, the comedy that was from the stand-up from those comedians today, oh, they would be canceled, bashed, everything if they did that today. That's why I said what Druski did to me was symbolic of old school comedy that you would see back then. And we're so the society is so sensitive now. Everybody takes everything so literal. Like you can't even have you can't joke, you can't say nothing anymore without somebody taking offense to something that's not made to be offensive.
I mean, you know, people, not people. Well, yes, people should be offended. This is what the pastors and the preachers are out here doing. That's what we should be offended about. You feel me? You should be offended by that because y'all preaching the word of God. Why y'all make a mockery out of it? You know, I was just talking.
Who's that?
I was talking to I was talking to somebody who's like 100% believe in the Bible, you know, and I believe in a higher power.
No Diddy.
But but I completely I mean, I know a lot of people might not agree with me on this, but I question the Bible to the fullest extent because it has been tainted and books been taken out. I had a Christian today tell me, how do I know for sure that books are missing? I said, well, you go to church, ask the pastor. I mean, I did my research. They are open about missing books. Other countries, and you know, when it comes to us as America and Christianity, they've been putting it out there. You feel me? So when it comes to this is the representation. Now, show a couple pictures. But Jamal Bryant was here, you know, and I went to his church, I think twice, you know, and it was the first time I went to a big church, like a mega church. I'm more of the like that small, you know, like kind of still look like a house, like the old school churches for real. I like small churches for real. But and my uncle had one. My uncle, he wasn't smart about the things that he did, but I realized that he really wasn't a good pastor. He probably got offended by that Druski video. As he should, and you know that, so you should be quite offended. But he believe in the word of God. The crazy part is they believe in what they doing. How would you feel for everybody like who go to churches like that? How would you feel that on the day of, you know, what's it called, the rapture? You know, you get to heaven and your pastor ain't there.
So that damn jackleg preacher.
And you know, I always joke about when I get to that room, I already know the Lord gonna be like, hold on, we gotta talk. He gonna, you know, you put the arm out like, hold up, now man, you gotta have a one-on-one. And if I get past that stage after he helped me, and I be like, look, let me explain. Why, and I get there, I don't see, like, I feel like I knew they was living fail because you know up there they're gonna be gossiping.
Right. I mean, you know,
yeah.
How would you? I know I would probably get kicked out of heaven because I would be asking every day, what did I do? What happened?
Because certain people, because you know they be like, I know I said till we meet it, but like,
I'll be up there like, Jesus, you are, Jesus, you are.
We got anything on this?
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just asking. Anybody got anything else? Because I know we got a couple of things to go through. Okay, so this next topic, I don't have a snippet before because I don't want the video to get flagged. Hey, did you guys watch the Cam Newton and Lady London interview?
I watched some of it, like how I watch most of all his things, because he kind of irritates me after a while. I can't get through anything in him.
He does, but
I like him at the same time.
But this one, because it was like a hot topic, and I usually don't watch his interviews either. And it's not to say that he's bad. I like to watch him talk about sports, but when it comes to his interviews, it's something about his interview style that kind of turns me off. But after reading some comments about this particular interview, I said, well, let me go and see what it's about. So after watching the interview, I saw what some people took from it, and I saw what and I took some key takeaways of topics of discussion that I wanted to use for tonight. Like some people were saying, like pretty much he wasn't ready for her to be educated, well-spoken, and which she was. She was very well poised, very well-spoken. But I felt like even watching that, it's something that happens, and I know I've encountered it. I know me and Judico, so when we talk, I know you've encountered it, and I'm sure Paul has encountered it as well. Even when we talk about different things, when you present and people have one way of thinking, like, or this person may not show up like this. I felt like he prejudged her, not knowing her background, which a lot of people do. We probably shouldn't, which is a stereotype, and because she's a rapper and everything like that, as opposed to other women that he's had on the show, where so she wasn't going for none of that, and she was pretty much correcting him, but making it known like I'm not one of them in so many words, right? So it was some things that he would ask her, and one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys was, a couple of things he asked her. She asked for clarification or meaning, like what do you mean? Because there's certain that we could say something and it can be taken several different ways. So to appropriately answer the question, you may ask for clarification. And he would be like, well, I gave you the choices. She's like, I understand that. However, but she was trying to explain it, but I felt like he was trying to dumb her down or make her appear a type of way, because she showed up very well spoken, very knowledgeable of what she was talking about. And I felt like her asking for clarity was well purposed. And I feel like a lot of times in our everyday communication, when you show up knowledgeable about a subject and the person that you're talking to, I don't know if it's intimidation or whatever, they try to insult your intelligence or try to flip it to try to dumb you down. So I wanted to get your insight like on stuff like that. On how does that make you feel, or why do you think that is?
Well, I'm gonna let y'all handle that because I did not even see no interview. I've been in the woods, so I'm gonna
Okay, so
listen to
even if
them.
you didn't see it, have you ever been in have you ever talked to someone and you felt like, okay, we're in a conversation, right? And we're talking, and you may tell me something, and you're actually speaking truth and speaking knowledge and speaking very well, but now I want to challenge it because I wasn't expecting for you to show up the way that you did or to be intellectually inclined in broad areas, right?
Shit, that happens
So,
all the time. That happens all the time. Then at city council, every time I go up there, because they think they sit above people because they sit on city council, and the people not supposed to come up there and get on their ass and speak the truth. And like, I mean, it don't bother me because I know whether they think I'm intelligent or I'm got money, I got all this. It don't even matter. I know me, and I know where I came from, and I know me, and I know just as much as y'all think y'all know. And I probably know a little bit more because I've been through the streets and the schools and all that shit. I done been through the streets, the schools, the prisons, the highs, the lows. Since 1961, I done lived a hell of a damn life. And I done been through all of it. And for you to think that you can sit up high on your little city council place and look down on me because you the mayor, it don't fly. Because I'm gonna come there and tell you the truth regardless. So I mean, it happens with just regular people. People that just think they better than you. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I used to worry about it, but shit. As I got older, I said, fuck them. I don't give a damn what you think. However you might want to feel like you can flip something on me, you can't. Because I'm always, if you see my clip that I showed on my page where I posted when we was about the doggone toilets, and the guy said, Jonathan, he said, Paul does research. I always research before I go up here talking to these people. I research before I go doing anything. I research. So I'm not gonna go nowhere half cocked and don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So yeah, I don't care. It don't bother me.
Yeah, especially when you try and call somebody out or belittle somebody, you gotta come with the facts.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only thing with him. And with today's culture in general, it's always about a man trying to belittle a woman, always putting a woman in a position to defend herself. You see it a lot on all the platforms. Like she always gotta like defend herself or prove her point or um whatever. They were making fun about some of the mistakes that he made pronouncing shit wrong and just total ignorance, with some things. And I ain't gonna make fun of it because the fuck I forget how to say some shit, pronounce some shit, spell some shit. It's sometimes that shit just happen, but it's different when you doing it on a platform and you try and play in somebody else's face. The shit was funny because regardless of like usually I find him funny when he doing the sometimes he have his little crash out moments or whatever. He go back and forth with different people got little shit to say, that the nigga with the eagle shit, all that stuff. But
Yeah.
like what happened was the chick he
Hold up,
had on.
what you say? The nigga with the ego shit. What did you say?
Yeah, she's talking about Gilly. He has
Yeah,
videos.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
Him and Gilly, yeah, that shit hilarious.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Now
say that you said
that
the
shit,
nigga.
yeah, they be going back and forth because he be talking about that quarterback, and Gilly be
Okay.
talking about how he don't his quarterback did things, he don't have no Super Bowl, nothing. All that. Like they be going back and forth. Like usually that's the stuff, but like the chick he had on before he had what's her name, Lady London, whatever. Because I ain't know, I ain't gonna lie, I don't keep up with too much of stuff. I like different kind of music. I don't really listen too much rap for real. Um, um, he had Natalie Nunn on there. And having a bird like that on there, don't get me wrong, she got no money or whatever, but having her asking something, because he even trying to play with her, and some people felt like she kind of, even I felt like she was kind of bird brain with some of the stuff. But like, I mean, I guess he felt like he was going to play with Shorty. Like I like how she carried herself, like how she, corrected him. She kind of educated him for real. And yeah, men need to stop playing. Like they it's like the culture today. He ain't doing nothing that a lot of these dudes they got these platforms don't be doing. Like they be always trying to get a female and they be just trying to belittle her or make her feel less than, talk down to her. The thing he could have did, if you're gonna be that much of an asshole, at least be like, hey, your shit in order. Hey, shit in order.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like he tried to ruffle. In certain instances, he would ask her questions, and he was trying to ruffle her feathers when he saw that she was quick on her feet. She had a lot of wit. She had a lot of run. She had a lot of personality. I've heard her freestyle before because it popped up, and I'm like, oh, I like her. She's a lyricist. Her wordplay is crazy. You can tell her vocabulary is extensive, right? But I didn't know that she had a master's and that she was a science major. So she's also geeky. I felt like he was expecting, oh, she a rapper, this and the third. Because he said, I tried to look you up, and he said, I know I got to come at you correct. But I felt like with that, he wanted to enter that debate, and I wanted to tie into. I just started. I wanted to tie it into how we communicate with each other, because a lot of times, even in my communication, whether it's personal, professional, or whatever, when you're knowledgeable about something and somebody is not expecting you to be, it turns into a challenge, or it turns into oh, I bet you don't know this. And I felt like, one, that's what he tried to do with her, and that's a lot of times what we experience in our everyday communications. And it just happens a lot where, so if you show up intelligent, everybody don't know everything, but why try to insult someone's intelligence or try to make them look stupid? For instance, remember I was talking to a guy, and everything became a debate. You know what I mean? And then some people look at it like, okay, we're just having a conversation. You're asking me a question, I'm answering. Conversing. Every conversation does not have to be a debate. Even talking to some females, just in general, you could be like explaining something, or just sharing knowledge of something. It seems like it turns into a challenge, and I'm like, why does everything have to be challenging? And I felt like in that interview, he did that a lot with her. And yeah, she was catching it. And I felt like he was trying to ruffle her to get out of character and out of pocket. And she never did. She stayed classy, she stayed true. And then she enlightened him on her background, her educational background, because I felt like when he mentioned his, it was more so like, oh, I'm smart too. You know what I mean? So, and then she was like, okay, so they had the whole HBCU conversation and everything like that. But I wanted to kind of get y'all take on, why does it feel like when a person is intimidated by your conversation, which is going to take me into something else, intimidated by your conversation, it becomes this challenge or debate of knowledge of who's smarter than who, or like, I never understood that, but that's what that interview reminded me of.
That's life. That is just life. Because people always want to try to make you feel like you less than what you are in order for them to feel like they are more than what they are. It's just life. I mean, I don't know how you would feel because, like I said, you got to realize I done lived through a whole lot of stuff, y'all. I done lived through a whole lot of stuff. And I'm at the point now where the stuff that really might be phasing people they find offensive or stuff like that. Men always want to, I'm not going to say always, but since they created that divide between the black man and the black woman with the urban renewal shit back in the days, it's always got worse and worse and worse. Once they removed the man out of the house and made him not be the head of the family, shit got worse. And now it's so bad that people really, if you ain't up on your shit about life and everything, there's no way for you to get back. Men, you got men that always feel like they got to talk down on women because women are so much more educated than them now. Because men don't stop where they feel like they need to go to school or educate themselves in the schools. So now the women have surpassed them in that. So you give a man with a little position, and most of these guys that they got in positions on these podcasts and whatever, whatnot, they ain't been nothing but some probably little trouble thugs somewhere and then got put on the shit. But they feel like they are better than any woman that comes before them. Just like the white folks feel like they're better than all the black folks. Even though you ain't got shit neither. You just a poor crack over there. You ain't got nothing. But you feel like you better than me. That's the same way that black men have started to feel about the black women. Well, they haven't started feeling, but they've been feeling like that. And it's sad. And the other flip side of that is because the black woman, some of them don't fall into that shit, that bait shit. But for the most part, most of them say, yeah, I'm better than him. I don't need nobody like him and all that. But I mean, what? This man might not have the same kind of education, whatever you have, same kind of money, whatnot. But you still don't know what this man can do for you in your life. But you want to base it on him, where his station is in life. So people shit on themselves a lot. You shit on yourself.
I have value. It's just value in different ways. And I think people focus on, it's like a tug of war. And everything shouldn't be a tug of war. But before we go further, because it's going into my next video, I wanted to also talk about miscommunication and how it affects us, because it all kind of ties together. Because I feel like we're going into that, because I think that goes into the realm of miscommunication. And then I also wanted to discuss not only how miscommunication happens, but also like some resolutions. Rich, whenever you're ready.
Have you ever talked with a friend about a problem, only to realize that he just doesn't seem to grasp why the issue is so important to you? Have you ever presented an idea to a group, and it's met with utter confusion? Or maybe you've been in an argument when the other person suddenly accuses you of not listening to what they're saying at all. What's going on here? The answer is miscommunication, and in some form or another, we've all experienced it. It can lead to confusion, animosity, misunderstanding, or even crashing a multi-million-dollar probe into the surface of Mars. The fact is, even when face-to-face with another person, in the very same room, and speaking the same language, human communication is incredibly complex. But the good news is that a basic understanding of what happens when we communicate can help us prevent miscommunication. For decades, researchers have asked what happens when we communicate. One interpretation, called the transmission model, views communication as a message that moves directly from one person to another, similar to someone tossing a ball and walking away. But in reality, this simplistic model doesn't account for communication's complexity. Enter the transactional model, which acknowledges the many added challenges of communicating. With this model, it's more accurate to think of communication between people as a game of catch. As we communicate our message, We receive feedback from the other party. Through the transaction, we create meaning together. But from this exchange, further complications arise. It's not like the Star Trek universe, where some characters can Vulcan mind meld, fully sharing thoughts and feelings. As humans, we can't help but send and receive messages through our own subjective lenses. When communicating, one person expresses her interpretation of a message, and the person she's communicating with hears his own interpretation of that message. Our perceptual filters continually shift meanings and interpretations. Remember that game of catch? Imagine it with a lump of clay. As each person touches it, they shape it to fit their own unique perceptions based on any number of variables, like knowledge or past experience, age, race, gender, ethnicity, religion, or family background. Simultaneously, every person interprets the message they receive based on their relationship with the other person and their unique understanding of the semantics and connotations of the exact words being used. They could also be distracted by other stimuli, such as traffic or a growling stomach. Even emotion might cloud their understanding. And by adding more people into a conversation, each with their own subjectivities, the complexity of communication grows exponentially. So as the lump of clay goes back and forth from one person to another, reworked, reshaped, and always changing, it's no wonder our messages sometimes turn into a mush of miscommunication. But luckily, there are some simple practices that can help us all navigate our daily interactions for better communication. 1. Recognize that passive hearing and active listening are not the same. Engage actively with the verbal and nonverbal feedback of others and adjust your message to facilitate greater understanding. 2. Listen with your eyes and ears, as well as with your gut. Remember that communication is more than just words. 3. Take time to understand as you try to be understood. In the rush to express ourselves, it's easy to forget that communication is a two-way street. Be open to what the other person might say. And finally, 4, be aware of your personal perceptual filters. Elements of your experience, including your culture, community, and family, influence how you see the world. Say, this is how I see the problem, but how do you see it? Don't assume that your perception is the objective truth. That'll help you work towards sharing a dialogue with others to reach a common understanding together.
Okay. I love that little video. Anybody who knows me know I love TED Talks and any type of things like educational that do that. So anyway, I thought that was perfect for especially where this conversation is going and what we saw, and then how certain things. So I think it's important. Well, before we get into that, what were y'all takes from that video, and like what were your thoughts on it? First of all,
Seemed like the tree had all the sense. You always can depend on that tree to get some good sense.
you know, it's funny. Just to go off topic for a minute, that you mentioned that the tree had the most sense. So when I talk to like my friends and we talk about like situations, right, and seasons, I always like to use the tree as symbolic of life. You know, your tree, you have the bark, then you have all the, so you know what's solid is that root of the tree, right? The tree is, it's going to stay grounded. That's your grounded. So a lot of times that's your support system, whoever that may be. So then you standing on those roots because that's where you're grounded at. But then you have like the leaves and you had the branches. And so the leaves fall off seasonal. So, you know, those are the seasonal friends or whatever. So even the branches, so you got small branches, you got some thick branches. Some of them branches stay around a little long for years and years and years. But something may happen or a storm may come and those branches do what? Fall off. But the one thing that'll never leave you is the root of the tree. So I used to always, especially when people go through it, but what happens is the tree still stands. So just never let life break you down to a point where you can't grow, because everything blossoms back on the tree during seasons. So when you mentioned the tree, it made me think about that. I like to always reference like the tree to know like you can always stand through anything, any type of storm, anything that come your way.
Right.
Just remember the tree always it takes a lot for that tree to fall. So I think we a lot like trees.
All they need to do is need to make a couple more loads of paper and that tree will tumble. So be careful. Save the trees.
Okay, but no, seriously, I don't know why. I just wanted to say that every time I hear somebody say that, because it's crazy how symbolic the tree is to so many things in our life. But again, back to the video, which I thought was like a great video, and it keeps your engagement because it was animated. But there were a lot of key takeaways in communication and how we communicate. And for me, I guess I'll kick it off. They didn't say the exact thing, but social cues is definitely important. Like when you're interacting, whether it's in your professional life, your personal life, anything like that, social cues are important. Social cues meaning like your tone, how we interact, body language, and like with Smith, those are all social cues that you can identify when you're communicating with somebody. Also like perception. Everybody, like, we can talk about the same thing, but maybe have different perceptions and perspectives of how that is, which is, I think, also like the beauty of the show, because even though we all have great critical thinking and we have great viewpoints, but they differ in a certain way because we're all different and have different personalities and things like that. But I think it's also important to understand perspective also comes from personal bias, meaning that's your culture, like your upbringing, and how your perception, your perspective is shaped in our communication. So a lot of people really don't get that whole thing. But what was some key takeaways for y'all when it comes to how you communicate and how things can be easily miscommunicated?
I realized from that video that I'm still working on communicating, because I ain't gonna lie, we've talked a couple times about communication, right? But it's easier said than done sometimes, especially depending on there's a lot of things. Who you talking to, the conversation, moods, yours and the person. It's a lot that go into that. And by the time, sometimes you can mean well, but a motherfucker would just, like everybody don't know how to communicate, and it makes communicating difficult. Huh? No, I didn't. Yeah, it makes communicating difficult. Like I struggle with this a lot, like in my personal life and my work life. It's like and the thing, it's probably the way I word things. I know I got a funny way of wording things. I'm honest with, like, I don't know how to word it. You feel me? But I know what I'm talking about. I can show you what the fuck I'm talking about. You feel me? But but then when you hear like somebody, the same person that you was trying to explain something to, they complain, or they trying to express the same thing to somebody else, and it's just all in like the audience for real. So when it comes, what I got out of that was
Where you go? Uh-oh. Y'all having a storm up there? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. No,
I'm back. I don't know what is it right there, so.
No,
Verizon. You on Verizon. Can you hear us now? You the one on Verizon up there in Baltimore.
I got Comcast.
The wind is starting to pick up here. But I know you were talking about, like, it depends on the person on like the receiving end as well as you. And I think that's like really important to identify, like, how things come off and like how we communicate with each other. So I think in those moments, I'm just throwing questions out based off what you said. So in those moments, like when you are I think a lot of times things are taken easily to be misunderstood. Like I know, like with me, if I got a lot and I'm feeling heavy, everything annoys me. And I feel like sometimes people don't take into account, like, even if you can share what you're going through. And it seemed like no question is the best question to ask because you just need to process and go through it. So you like easily annoyed. So I think knowing when you need to pull away from the communication to really be able to be received in the best way is also important. That's self-awareness.
Oh no, I'm a master at that. Now anybody needs some expertise on pulling away from communicating, you know. I know when to be like, you know what? When it comes to you know, and when you're on the receiving end of communicating, I noticed that it's I myself too. I'm sometimes guilty of this. More people listen to respond instead of listening to actually like have a conversation. It's a difference in listening for you to engage in, you know, taking care of the problem, the issue, helping, you know, find a solution to something. It don't even gotta be nothing bad, like just engage in the conversation. Some people more so are listening to respond, you know, so they listening for key words. They're not even hearing, you know, everything that you're saying sometimes. So yeah, on the receiving and listen. That's part of communicating as well, you know. So yeah.
We
That's
got
all I
that
got to say about
Pisces,
that.
we got that Pisces connection going on. Cause you know what, Jude, what you just said, I was sitting here thinking, I say a lot of people listen to talk. They don't listen to hear what somebody has to say. They listen to talk. And I be damn, you ain't come right out there and say just the same damn thing. I said, damn, now she thinking just like I'm thinking.
Yeah, because you know it's almost out season, Paul.
Yeah, but that's where your lack of communication comes from. It's hard for people to realize that communication doesn't just revolve around talking. It revolves around listening and hearing. And if you can talk all the time, then that means you can't be hearing everything that's being said to you. So I mean, whew. And then listening to talk. Yeah, okay. If you say something, I'm gonna cut you off and I'm gonna go on and say, hey, I'm gonna blah 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 blah. Okay, but yeah, but I always want to let you know this. Oh yeah, you know I know all about that too. Blah 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 blah. I mean, come on. Listen. If you want to communicate with somebody, you gotta be able to listen. And for the most part, a lot of people can't listen to other people. They can't listen to me. You said, well, I thought you were sitting there listening to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you didn't hear what I was saying. Okay. But I was listening. No, you wasn't listening. Because you was listening, you'd have heard me. I don't bite my tongue, so you'd have heard me.
And I think that's one of the key points. The video also spoke on was active listening is like one of the crucial points of communicating. And like I said, not just listening to respond, but to gain understanding. And I think a lot of times there is what I did like is how they touched on outside interference when you're trying to communicate and establish some type of what is it called, dialogue with someone, right? In order to, especially if it's an issue or anything like that, when you're not focused. Like for instance, like if one of my sons here, something like that, and if y'all talking and then they talking to me, I don't grasp everything that you say, or if something else is going on. If I'm like multitasking, which a lot of us are like, oh, I can multitask, I can do, but let's be real, even in multitasking, you miss something, and you could miss something crucial. And I think that's the same thing when it comes to communicating, like you said, like listening. But something else the video touched on that I wanted to kind of get you guys' opinion on and elaborate on with the outside interference is other parties. When you're trying to communicate with someone or of a subject matter or resolution or anything like that, when other people come in and have a perspective, that changes the dialogue. And it's not always positive. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. But when you do that, now you have to interchange and take in other perspectives.
No,
When
you
it,
don't.
no, I mean, we typically you don't have to, but when other people talk, certain things may stick out. For some people, they may take that on. So instead of having a conversation with you and then other outside parties come in, some people be like, oh, if someone's so sad, that's when that he say, she say, and all of that other goofy stuff come in. And then that's why you hear people say, oh, you listening to your friends, or you listening to your homeboys, or you listening to this, and the third, outside parties. And I know, like, we've all discussed up here, like, in certain situations, outside interference stages, it shouldn't be a thing. Sometimes certain things just need to be between the parties involved.
You know, I agree and disagree with that. I'm one that will talk to my partner about any and everything, but sometimes I also need a friend and vice versa. You feel me? I feel like this. Know everything. I do believe in privacy. I'm a very private person. However, if I do have my good girlfriend or two that I could, go to, and if I'm having a bad day, not even necessarily just some relationship shit, some life shit, some family shit, something I can sit down and go to that person for advice. But just because you go to people, that's the thing. People make excuses and they use other people as the reason for why they are doing what they do. Just because I came to you for advice does not mean that that's the reason I'm going to take it and run with it. Going to people for advice or going to people to vent or because you need somebody to talk to is not your scapegoat to do things. That person did not make you do anything. You chose to do it. That was already there. You just using that person as clarity when you already had it there yourself. I don't never believe in that statement like, oh, such and such. I don't give a damn what such and such said. This is what I said. This is however that I say that. You feel me? This is what me and you talked about that. You feel me? And if I ever give advice to any of my friends, you feel me? It's literally just that. It's not to, you know, um, tell you to make a decision. Even I'm gonna have your back. I might feel as though, that's not, I'm gonna tell you that's not good for you. I don't agree with this. You feel me? But that ain't for you to go and say, and Jude don't agree with this. So blah, blah, blah. No, motherfucker, you already felt like that. And I'm gonna be the friend that's gonna say, no, bitch, you felt like that. And we
Okay,
talked
so
about it. Don't put
let
me
me
in.
all right, let me add context to it. Let's just say you're having a conversation. Okay, let's say you and Paul having a conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
One-on-one thing. And myself, let's say me and Q come in the room, right? And we might be adding 2 cents, and I'm just trying to piggyback on, like, give a scenario based on the video. And then that happens. Do you hear Paul or do you start to hear everybody else? And then it's like, because something Paul may say to you may not get heard because now you have other people. And then it may lead to, do you think that may lead to a miscommunication thing when it's like, when
So
outside, and that's outside interference, and when you have different people coming in, the communication tends to, do you think that would interfere with
one,
the communication?
it depends. Now, if I'm talking to Paul and y'all walk in and I didn't want y'all in my conversation, I'm going to stop talking to Paul. But once I include y'all in that conversation, that's different. I didn't open the conversation for everybody to have an opinion. What I'm saying is just because everybody that I'm now talking to has an opinion, don't mean that I can use that as my reason to do whatever I'm getting ready to do. I have a mind of my own. The decision is up to me to make, not because somebody told me to do it. That's a weak-minded person. That's somebody making excuses for the actions that they are getting ready to commit. That's my opinion on it, you know, because
I agree with
yeah,
that, but I mean, when I think like, let's say if he's talking to you,
right.
and then that not just saying it's like want to influence your decision, but when it comes to the communication that you're having, do you think when other people add their perspectives into that,
Do it affect his? No, because
do
oh,
you think you heard everything that he's trying to communicate or convey to you? Would you think that it will
if
overshadow something that he may say, and then now
no.
it's just okay?
No, because if I'm talking to him and I only want his opinion, I'm just getting his opinion. You feel me? But if we talking that everybody else come in, you feel me? And I'm now invite everybody in. In my opinion, I'm taking into consideration everything that everybody. Now, if Paul is saying some dumbass shit out of his mouth, I ain't listening to Paul. You feel me? Paul over there on this bullshit, and y'all come in and y'all on some logical shit. Yeah, that's going over Trump. Now, if me and him is having a good conversation, and then y'all come in on some bullshit, I'm probably gonna stop talking,
So
and
what
we'll
makes
talk
it
later. You know,
so now you know I'm always doing that. So what makes it logical?
it depends on the
And I'm
situation.
gonna let Paul go because Paul done stood up.
Yeah, no, it depends. I'm just saying it depends on the situation. You feel me? Like it depends on what we talk about. Like, say we having like a serious conversation about like some money or something. You feel me? We talk about budgeting or some shit. You feel me? And we are actually engaging. And y'all come over talking about y'all talk about money. What y'all trying to go to the bar? Blah blah blah. I'm not listening. You feel me? We talk about just to make some fun out of it. You feel me? We talk about budgeting and you know and y'all come over and y'all and one of y'all jump in and y'all saying, oh yeah, so yeah, I tried this. I got my credit together because I did X, Y, and Z. From now we, engaged. And the other one was like, man, I just pay my bills and I pay my bills. You feel me? I just do this. I'm probably gonna laugh and geek and joke with that one. But if we really engaging, I'm gonna take what I take, any advice I can get. You feel me? It might be some truth in them jokes, something to come out of that too. You feel me? I'm gonna take out what I can get out of the conversation. But my actions, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, because Coco said, or yeah, because
Yeah.
Q said, I'm not gonna be like that.
Paul.
You on mute, Paul?
I'm muted. I said, yeah, I got up because I heard that wind outside blowing. I'm wondering if it start blowing that doggone snow around yet. It says it's supposed to be about 8:45 when it's supposed to start snowing. But no, first of all, if Jude and myself is sitting somewhere talking and we're into a deep conversation and you and Q just walk up in there, y'all not going to just jump into the conversation in the first place because y'all don't know what we're talking about. So now we can sit there and we can continue our conversation, which we shouldn't do if we're going to have people join us. We can shut that down. And if it's something that we can ask y'all about, then we can open up the conversation to somebody else. But just to come in there and say, well, okay, we're going to keep on talking about this. And then you're going to say, well, no, Jude going to be distracted by y'all saying. If you're going to be distracted by them talking about something that you and I have been talking about, then you and I ain't got no business talking about what we was talking about. So the thing is, when you come in, whether y'all know it's up or not, it's on us to decide right then whether or not this is a conversation we want to open up to other people to have with us.
No, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that.
But then when you open up the conversation now, but now if you open up the conversation, let me finish. If you open up the conversation, then that means you open up the different avenues to everybody else's opinions as well as mine. So I don't mean that I got a monopoly on it now. You can open up to everybody else, so everybody else got it right, and you can go ahead and take what you can get here or there, whatever, or nowhere. I mean, yeah, it's all about courteous, being courteous.
I think I definitely agree with that, and I think that's the message that I was getting. Like if I'm piggybacking off of like the video, and you could see like when there's an interaction between two people, and then other people come, that's interference. And at some point in that communication, you two, I'm just going to use you two, and it may still be trying to talk, but when you have other people doing this, something is missed in that listening, because now you're hearing everything, and there may be something important that Paul may be saying that you may not have kept caught because you have some type of interference. Like let's just say, for an example, let's just say at work, right, or professional, right, or as with Paul in his community, or let's just say at a town hall, and you're talking, and then other people, everybody just start talking too. Certain things, some things can happen. It can heighten the situation,
I'm gonna
you
say
know, and
point
make
of
it,
order.
or make it worse if there's no structure. And I think when they was talking about the throwing of the ball, that's the structure of the communication, because now you mold it to your own perception. Perception is really key, and social cues are really key when it comes to communication. That's where I was going with it when it comes to, not saying that it influences your decision, but a lot of times when it's a whole bunch going on, it's easy to miss something. And it could be something that's key.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, my attention span is about like the same as a dog saying a squirrel. Ooh, a squirrel.
All right, we got another thing on this. We got two more, and I'm checking them in.
I learned that if one thing about communicating is keeping people's attention.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm sorry. Let's stay here for a second, because I'm sorry to cut you off, but I missed something.
I keep repeating it in my head so I don't forget. Go ahead.
I'm glad you brought it up. So when it comes to that about attention span, and you and I touched on it earlier, and I know I said I wanted to bring it in today. So going back into the interview, something was mentioned about the generation of today have shorter attention spans, right? So everything is needed to be short, quick, and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
My question was, and I wanted to make it, you know what I'm saying, have it up here. Do you think, like, I know we have like reels and shorts and everything like that. Everything today is quick. This is in the third. Whereas though, do you think that would affect communication? Because everybody wants something so quick, and a lot of times with certain things, and it also may be what you want to do with your life or whatever's going on. Everything is not quick, simple, and to the point. Do you think that affects a person's ability to hold a conversation? So I think it's a two-part. Do you think this generation is definitely has an attention, what's the word I just used? Deficit. Yeah, when it comes, attention span is shortened as opposed to that. And how do you think that would affect how they communicate, if any?
Yeah, I think every generation has that no bull crap, because we've grown out of a lot of the old modern ways. So the world moves faster. So you got to kind of keep up with it. When it comes to communicating, yes, because time is moving fast. So it's always, you have a very short time frame to catch somebody's attention. And that's whether it's written or verbal. So when you're saying something, and that like probably like first I'm gonna use like 10 second, first 60-second fucking 60-second, a little commercial break between 30 and 60. So you got 30 and 60, between 30 and 60 seconds to catch somebody's goddamn attention. And once you get it, you gotta hold it. So you need to get what we learned today. Get straight to the point with putting as much detail in what you need as possible. Once you lock a motherfucker in, then you can get to explain, because they're gonna start asking questions. You're gonna start, whatever you need, yada yada yada. It's that's the way. But shit, I was ready to say something else, then I looked down. Oh yeah. That's how they want you to work. They want you to be efficient and as quick as possible. You feel me? They want you to do things at a fast pace, as good as you can. You feel me? Like it's flawless as you can. Like the fuck? They want you to do things, between 30 and 60 seconds, especially when it comes to communicating. And once you lose a motherfucker, you kind of lose them. It's kind of hard to draw somebody back in once they're gone. Like I had something else to say, but I forgot what it was.
You got that right. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm a shit.
No, I think you walked away. So the question was, do you think this generation today has a shorter attention span as opposed to prior? Meaning, because like on social media, you had a reel. So that's why we said, do you think it affects how they communicate or their ability to communicate, whether like hold a conversation?
Shit, not only this generation, the older generation and the middle generation, shit. All of them are fucked up in the attention span, having attention deficit. Because, I mean, look at I can tell y'all, it's the world that we in. The world that we in. When you meet people that can pay attention to you and talk with you and, y'all can vibe and all that good stuff, then you good and you blessed. Because we in a world where people just can't communicate. Their attention is short. Like mine right now, because I'm a little high. But I was thinking the whole time y'all was trying to say, well, damn. I was thinking about that song by Paul Simon about, if you be my bodyguard, I'll be your long lost pal. And he said, why am I short in the middle about attention span or something like that he was saying in the song and shit. But yeah, that's all somewhere else. But yeah, that came up too.
This is a perfect example. Paul did it. You definitely, you set the tone. That was a perfect example.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We talk about paying attention. I forgot what I was going to say. Paul went somewhere else.
But I wanted to test her theory as well. Y'all know I'm like analytical because that's what was mentioned during that interview, and I did it, and it's also evidence-based data out there around that. So that is proven that even in today's society, everything is like quick, short, and to the point. But also with that comes impatience. So, and I even see that in my everyday work. A lot of people don't have patience because they want it so quickly, and everything isn't going to happen quickly. So then they're not conditioned, because what happens is when it's not happening quickly in like a reel or a short, they become impatient and then they can't get what they want. And they don't know how to articulate it because now they're frustrated because they want everything so quick.
It's the business.
Yeah, so their communication is completely off. And then that's when, I step in. So I think even with that, I think it's something that we talked about, Judah and I talked about offline, is situational. And I think understanding when something isn't a quick thing, but I think also before everything became so quick and fast, we also, something that was also taught and was a learned behavior was also practicing patience. And part of patience is communication and being able to listen and not be like, okay, get to the point, because then now you're not, you're not listening. So even still, when you become annoyed, you don't hear anything and you don't receive anything. Like for instance, I'm gonna give an example. If I was saying where I got it from, let's just say you going somewhere and you had to fill out some paperwork to handle your business, right? Because you moving fast and you want to get it over because we want everything to happen fast, and the person might have explained to it, you didn't hear it, so now you did the whole paperwork wrong. You done filled out something that you weren't supposed to fill out. You done signed somewhere you wasn't supposed to sign because you wanted it done quick. Now instead of you saying I made a mistake, you just frustrated because now you don't know how to communicate that. Nobody can hear you and listen to you when you're fussing or you're yelling and you're communicating out of frustration.
That's the problem with the world. They want you to be flash and a sloth at the same damn time. It's just like when you said about patience, like you have to have patience in today's world because everything do move at a such a fast pace that when it is a standstill, it's like a hard stop. You feel it's like going to like a red, like traffic on the highway for real. Like traffic could be flowing and then boom. You feel me? Traffic. You're in traffic for 2 hours trying to figure some shit out. When the next exit is 2 miles up and I can't get over. Like I don't know what they want. That's why everybody's so mad, so frustrating. Like it's like I don't even know how to explain it for real. Cause I can't even say too much about like what they doing to us for real. 'Cause you can't talk about people are getting fired and things all over the world. I mean all over the country for doing certain things. I just don't want to be one of them right now. But they want you to be efficient and patient at the same damn time.
Yeah. I think again, it's like situational. Even like working with the public and working with people and having assist and support. I do find myself having to have conversations about practicing patience. And sometimes everything is not fresh, everything is not in and out. And then when I do give the quick things, and I can put key details in less than a minute and give you definite specifics, you'll still get it wrong. Well, you said, yeah, and then I said, no, just listen to me. And again, it goes back to the active listening part. I explained to you that da 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 da. Oh yeah, you did. So when I do that, then what? Okay, now you had a question. I'm like, now do you have time to like really get it? And then I'll have the conversation is before you get upset, ask. And I think a lot of times, going back to the interview, when she asked for clarification, it seems like he got frustrated with her, or like it was the wrong thing to ask. And a lot of times when people ask for clarity or clarification, the person that's on the end that's being asked that's dishing it back out
Get
is
so offended.
right. And the tone is off. And now you didn't change the dialogue because now you made this person feel defensive as if they were wrong for asking. So that trickles into something else. When you go somewhere else and you may be able to ask, people are more reluctant to ask for clarification when they really, really, really need it. So something that I reinforce, like in my professional life, especially, and even with my children, ask. Because even when they come to me, I mean, I don't know if I could. Yes, you can ask me whatever you want. What are you talking about? I believe in having that open door, open dialogue. And one thing I do know that I have today that I didn't have in the past is patience. And practicing that, I'm also teaching them, okay, it's okay. And I'm leading by example because if I need to ask you something, I am. But I also want them to sit still enough to have it explained to them and receive it. If you got to ask more than once, do that. And that's something that we've gotten away from as a society is gaining knowledge and being able to receive, even if you got to ask more than one time. It's okay not to get it.
No
It's,
motherfuckers don't want to teach. It's motherfuckers like you ever ask people like I've seen this done to myself and other people. Like you ask a motherfuckers be like, this generation of people that are gatekeepers, and there's some that's like, I want to see you win. You feel me? And them you when you are put in a situation to deal with those type of people, that shit make shit just a little difficult. You feel me? Like it's not always let's sit down and deal with some shit. Sometimes you gotta meet a motherfucker at a certain level, you feel me, to get points across, to get shit done. You gotta do some dirty work sometimes. You gotta get dirty with some shit. Sometimes you gotta set some boundaries and speak up. Like we had this little thing today and they was talking about they asked one of the questions. It's an actual communication thing. They was talking about, if somebody had an issue and and they did two different scenarios. One was a coworker kind of came and screamed at you, and how would you kind of deal with that with management, and the other one was like kind of like a customer, and how would you kind of deal with that with management. And everybody instantly, with the co-workers was like, oh, I would, go to my supervisor, or I would go to, this person, and everybody with the customer would instantly was like, well, first I would try to address the situation, figure out, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I would try to do that first with both, before I instantly go to make it a bigger situation. Let me see what the issue is, and if I can resolve it, I'm just going to resolve it, myself. I said all that to say, I feel like people make the issues their goddamn selves by trying to take the easy way out of shit instead of just dealing with shit right then and there. I think that made sense somewhere. I don't even know.
No, I get what you were saying. Some people
I don't even get what I was saying because I got lost somewhere.
I feel like you was on the paper. People make it harder than what it has to be.
That is exactly what I was trying to say right there.
Paul, do you have anything on this before we go to the next one?
Now go ahead and move on to the next one.
Yes.
Okay, so this next one, we're going to shift gears a little bit. So another headline in the news is there has been a mass resignation of staff in the DOJ and the Civil Rights Department. Rich, whenever you're ready, can you share that video?
Welcome back. Sources tell CBS News a wave of resignations has hit the Justice Department Civil Rights Division because of a lack of action following the deadly Minneapolis ICE shooting. Scott McFarland's been reporting on this and joins us now. I was bugging you early this morning saying, wait, why would the Civil Rights Division be responsible for investigating this shooting? And the answer was,
if there's an accusation of a misuse or excessive force used by law enforcement, the Civil Rights Division of the federal prosecutor's offices lead that. That's a outgrowth of the civil rights era when there were face-offs between law enforcement and communities. The Civil Rights Division handles these types of things historically. They are not leading an investigation of a potential deprivation of color of law or excessive force by the immigrations officer. So you have departures in the wake of that. Multiple departures inside the Civil Rights Division. They were announced at a meeting that was held for the staff on Monday. You also have at least a half dozen departures in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota, which would be lead on this. It's also not an inconsequential bit of timing because this controversy is only bubbling up.
I was going to say, these are the prosecutors in Minneapolis who have been dealing with the underlying concerns about fraud across the state, right?
Not only are they the one tasked with handling the fraud cases that have already been brought, the ones that have been emphasized by the White House, any future fraud cases that are to be brought. What's more, they're also handling an assassination investigation of House Speaker Melissa Hortman.
That's right, from last summer,
in Minnesota. So they've got some big things on their plate. They have fewer people to handle it now. And that is the microcosm of the bigger issue here, Ed, which is the Department of Justice has been losing people by the hundreds, many of them leaving in protest over what they're seeing, and they still got to get the work done.
And if you're leaving now, almost a year into the Trump administration, it means you weren't part of that first wave that was like, I don't want anything to do with this when he starts. This was the, I'll see how it goes crowd. And less than a year in, they're going, time to go.
I think that's the proper context and framing of exactly how I would frame it, because you have people who found this to be a bridge too far when there were no bridges in sight over the past year. That should give you an indication of what an inflection point this Minnesota shooting is for the lifelong career prosecutors inside the Department of Justice.
You also have some reporting on House Democrats asking the Trump administration if any January 6th rioters now work for ICE?
Yeah, the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee has submitted a formal inquiry to the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice for lists or information on anybody who was pardoned for January 6th now working as an ICE agent. Considering all the background noise about ICE, there's interesting timing to this inquiry. Congressman Jamie Raskin, who's the ranking member of the committee, says with all the masking of ICE agents, we have no idea who's working for whom, and the Department of Homeland Security does not release names of its agents, they say, to prevent doxing. So all of this is a mystery. We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for reaction. A spokeswoman said that they find Congressman Raskin's letter to be reckless and political. They don't deny any January 6 rioters work for ICE, nor will they release identities, they say, to protect the agents themselves.
But what started this for Raskin? Was this like an online thing that people went, well, if these guys were masked on January 6th, why wouldn't they potentially be getting a job that lets them shield their identity?
To be clear, that online chatter is very much prevalent. It's existed for some time now. Congressman Raskin brought up the possibility at a hearing Thursday of the Judiciary Committee. He is following up with a formal inquiry to just get a clear answer, yes or no.
All right, we'll see where it goes. Scott McFarland, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So before we get into that, I have some breaking news. So apparently, a couple of minutes ago, there's a notification on a Citizen app. Is that a person was shot in the leg in Minneapolis during an incident reportedly involving federal ICE agents. So these issues are still going on currently in how it's being handled. So what are you guys' feedback on the video? Don't all talk at once. You guys look so excited.
Who gonna replace the people that quit? Who in charge of replacing them?
I guess they gotta do applications and fill those positions and see. But you know, of course, the politics of it all. If we got January 6th people working in ICE and he pardoned all of them people, I would not be surprised if they fill them seats.
So that's what my concern is. Well, you know, if you are there to help, what help? I understand the protest and all that, but how are you helping by letting them in? That don't make no sense. So that's it. All seemed like a conspiracy to me. I understand stand for something. I know that they standing for a cause, but the problem is it seemed like I can see if they was getting fired or was losing some shit or something, but like I didn't hear like maybe I'm gotta look more into that to see like what was the like who would replace them. You feel me? Because if somebody get in there and they start doing the wrong shit, like take over, and that could kind of get pretty bad for Minnesota. You feel me? And then as far as the January 6th attack on the Capitol, and if ICE, I don't know what the fuck going on with ICE. You feel me? None of us really know. To me, I mean, I don't know. I can say this. I guess I can. I don't know, but I feel like ICE is like a new legal government KKK because I ain't really seen. I don't know. I seen one video that maybe was like the guy was speaking Spanish, but I mean you can speak another language. I don't know, but I ain't really seen like no black ICE. Well, I don't know. I gotta see. I gotta start paying attention to what's the complexion of the people. But saying like they really attacking, you know, like everybody at this point. All American citizens, non-exempt. If you are for anything other than, you feel me, with Donald Trump and all the other, you know, people who are out here promoting hate, because, you know, it's sad that they killed that white woman, but they also killed a black man. They've been harassing like just everybody that's not a white American. You feel me? I feel like if it wasn't for that lady, I mean, the only reason why it got the type of attention that it got was because she was a white woman, and you know, America not gonna stand for that. You feel me? She'll stand for that for anybody, because it's wrong. But that's the type of that's where we live, and that's the type of attention that actually that's the thing that had to happen to get the type of attention that this whole situation is getting, and when it comes to that January 6th thing and whatever, I don't put anything past none of that. I feel like once he pardoned all them people and all that, I don't even know why people keep bringing it up. We ain't gonna get no justice. Not saying y'all, but we ain't gonna get no justice on that. Ain't nobody gonna get no justice. What do you really expect? All I'm saying is they showed they don't want nobody riding no more, because after they did that shit, they already know ain't nobody just gonna go loot no stores and stuff now. They done set the bar with looting on the 6th. So don't worry about that, America.
I think it's an abuse of power as well. Going into this of why, because ICE has always been around, but I think the use of not only just ICE but our military is an abuse of power by our president and the powers that be who co-signed all of this shit. So I think what it comes down to, I think the issue is because so many have resigned like within the last day or two because they're not in agreement of how things are going and how it's being handled. And we all know this administration is doing what they want to do. You see, they did it with government workers of different other bureaus that's well needed. It's like you can go. Just go ahead. We find without you, we gonna do what we want to do. So these people base against the walls if they don't agree with it. So and they probably see that people's civil rights are being violated and things like that, and certain things are being ignored. So before they get caught up like they're in agreement with it, some people do have integrity. That's how I viewed it in that aspect of it became like a moral issue and a thing where okay, this is not right and I don't want to be a part of this because so much is going on because we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We just see what we see. You get what I mean? But I think it's very telling when you see a large number of people of a department just up and then leaving.
Yeah.
And then it's also really telling, like just now, a couple of minutes ago, there's been another shooting. So I'm like, what are the orders that's being told to them when they're conducting or doing whatever it is that they fucking doing? Is it shoot first, ask questions later? Like, what's going on? Because now this is probably like since the what's his name, the black guy, Antoine, what's his name? The black guy that got shot by ICE first.
I forgot his name.
I'm sorry, I forgot his name, but since he did, you had this lady. It's like you had multiple shootings. This is what, like, since the lady got shot, this is probably like the second or third shooting or shooting incident. Even if it's not fatal, there still have been additional shooting incidents. So my thing is, what is the orders that's being delegated to them while they're doing whatever the fuck they doing?
Listen,
Y'all know.
oh, go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, you ain't talking.
No,
Go ahead.
don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Don't say that word.
Well, you know, my
I want to go back to what you touched on though about Minnesota having issues. Minnesota got bad issues up there. Somebody in Minnesota done pissed off somebody real bad because not only is they having these shootings with the ICE and the raids and all that shit, and motherfuckers, they don't give a damn if you're white, you're black, you're Hispanic, whatever they section, motherfucker. They don't give a fuck about none of y'all up there. Now, the governor, whatever he done dropped his bid to run for re-election. Now he done up there being good old boy with Hillary. I mean not Hillary, but with damn what's the damn Kamala. He's the good old boy with Kamala running for vice president, all that and all jovial and shit. Now you up there, motherfucking ain't running for re-election. What you done? I'm telling you, I don't know what it's just something. It's something that's just not. There's something not sitting right with Minnesota. Like you said, with all them prosecutors and all that stuff resigning from the civil rights departments and all that stuff. Yeah, they getting up out there because they the federal government. That's federal stuff. They ain't trying to be a part of that. The state people up there want to press charges and stuff, but the Fed people ain't gonna do nothing there. And they want to try and make it all be about that woman and investigate her and stuff. That's why they want to quit. That's what they saying. But they know damn well that y'all ain't got no case against them people. They don't want to be going up in them people's business all, wrecking up in them people's lives and all that stuff for what? Because they protest? And I just don't understand. Minnesota, George Floyd, and then they say it was a few blocks or whatever away.
Yeah, from that.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota got issues.
Yeah.
They got issues. But there ain't no reason for these people, these Proud Boys, to run around up in here shooting people in the face with paint balls and all that shit. Snatching motherfuckers up off the street, chasing motherfuckers down. Somebody gonna start opening fire from their ass pretty soon.
Well, who is it? The mayor or the governor of Minnesota has been very outspoken.
The mayor?
The mayor.
Yeah, the mayor of not wanting ICE agents there, and has been very outspoken about civil rights and what he doesn't want for his constituents of Minnesota, Minneapolis, whatever. But I think that's one of the issues, because this administration hates resistance or people that speak up or who are outspoken or that will speak up for what's right, and they consider it defiance or whatever. So I think that's the initial problem, because we do see anytime any politician of a state or whatever is in disagreement or speaks out against, and he's consistently, routinely spoken out and said he don't want them there, get out, and he's just really verbal, they become the center of being attacked of, okay, da, 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 da. And then next thing you know, all of this uproar is just going on. And again, it's an abuse of power on the administration side, especially, and just Trump faces the forefront, but it's powers that be behind him as well. It's just not him. Because
Where is that tanker at? Where is that tanker at? Where's that tanker at with all that oil on it?
In
They got
his
shit
backyard. What you
They got
mean?
shit going on so much. They just be forgetting. Where is it at?
Epstein Island.
probably
Okay. So what he doing with it?
With
He
them
said
files.
they said they was keeping the oil. He can't even get the damn oil people to go back over to Venezuela with him. They don't even want to deal with his ass going back over there. So now he done bombed these people and took their oil and shit. Then you gonna go there and get rich. Boy, he's good at what he do. His damn con man.
Do he still got the president and the wife?
Yeah. He's supposed to meet with the other woman. He's supposed to meet with the woman that won the Nobel Peace Prize. Today is Thursday. No, tomorrow, Thursday. He's supposed to meet with her tomorrow.
You know what I've learned from this administration? If you want something, take it. And a promise is just a promise. Your word means nothing. Just because you say it don't mean you gotta do it. And yeah.
Well, that's
He is horrible.
Jay was coming and he said they took Russia boat. But I think also what's not being spoken on is, even with that, tensions are rising. And I do know I've been seeing different articles here and there, like
China said something.
Yeah, about cyber warfare. Yeah, because they're all in cahoots. But Russia claimed that boat, the last boat that they took, and they still was like, we're gonna take it anyway. And so now tensions are rising. So that's where the cyber warfare and all of those things are just coming into play. So be mindful. It's several ways that war can occur, and that certain things can happen. We talking about Verizon shit. We don't know, they might have got hacked, So it's different things like that where they can cause disruption. We got one more video. So this particular video is about the credit card interest rate caps. So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. Rich, whenever you're ready.
President Trump kicking off the new year with affordability at the top of his mind. He's making the American dream a reality again for young adults by tackling high housing costs, and he's considering a 10% cap on credit card interest rates. Priceless Tax founder and financial influencer Taylor Price, she joins us now. Taylor, it's so great to have you on. Let's talk first about this credit card situation. So my understanding is that the president is thinking on January 20th, which is the anniversary of his, entry into this current term of his presidency, the 1-year anniversary, says, I'm going to cap all these interest rates at 10%. Your thoughts?
So right now, credit card interest rates are really at 25 to 30%. So a 10% cap could be life-changing for a lot of young Americans. When we think about it, if we're paying $300 a month towards credit cards, a lot of that actually ends up going to interest. But here's the trade-off with that. Banks could get pickier on who they choose to approve, right? So young adults who already have established credit, this is going to be a positive win for those generations. But for the younger generations and maybe those who don't have as much credit established yet, this could be a bit dangerous.
So we did a Fox News poll, young people about young people's financial situations, and it says that 42% of them have fallen behind in their payments, 41% are holding steady, and 17% say they're getting ahead on their financial situation. 42% say they're falling behind. That's a big number, Taylor.
It is quite big. And my advice for those people who are lagging a bit is to come up with a strategy. Build the foundation first. This is what we do at Priceless Tay. So you can tackle debt one of two ways. First, the avalanche method, which are going to be paying the highest interest debt first, or there's the snowball method. This is for those who really love motivation and want to pay off the smallest balance debt first.
Yeah, well, President Trump also saying that he's not going to let these big corporations and these big private equity firms buy up homes, that homes are for people, and that also is going to be a good sign for young people. Really quick, Liz, why don't you close this out for us? Do you think that these two moves, capping the interest rates and what he wants to do with homes in terms of just making them for people and not these private equity firms, do you think that will resonate with young people?
I think this is a smart solution and a starting solution to a much bigger issue, which is that the fact that we are millions of homes short nationwide. My advice for young people is don't wait for Wall Street to fix your wallet at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's good advice. But it always helps when the government steps in and does some common sense policies that will help young people as well. All right, Taylor Price, we really appreciate you joining, and her site is Priceless Tay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest.
Oh. Okay, so first of all, why was she smiling like that? That tickled me. But what are your thoughts, guys?
I motherfucking hope they do that.
I agree. I do think that it would be a good look for citizens, especially like they said for young adults, because interest rates are really high. I think that's one thing I think we can say is a good look for citizens, especially like those who are building credit, trying to establish credit. But I do agree that banks. Well, the banks are already taking issue with it because they lose money because they can't tax you. So with that being said, for those who are trying to maybe establish credit or get a credit card, I do think it would be hard because they're going to look at the fact, okay, you don't have no credit, or whatever the situation may be, and they were pretty much they were getting over with these high credit interest rates and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's So I don't know. So I saw something else where they were like teetering or playing around with the idea. Well, maybe banks may just stop trying to offer credit cards, and that's a possibility because that's their their thing. If they feel like okay, it's not going to be beneficial to us, we're not going to make any money. So everything is about capitalism. So I just think it'll be a big change.
I don't think it would be a big change. It would honestly open up. I think it'll give the reverse effect. If you can pay things off quicker, you'll be more inclined to spend more money.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's how it worked with me. Since I pay my credit card off, I'm always inclined to rack it right on back up every single time. Yes. And that is why I have decent credit. You feel me? Like no bull crap. I might complain a lot, but baby, you feel me? Like you do right by the creditors, they do right by you. And that's what I'm saying. It works out in your favor. And if you can pay it off quicker when you rack up, the high bills.
And I don't think they're looking at it like that because most of the articles that I've read, most banks are not with it. They do not like this. They're fighting against it. Again, because it's going to be a significant decrease in what they see coming in with this cap.
Yeah, but I said, as we sitting here think about it, How many motherfucking credit cards do y'all be having that be?
Some
I
people
got.
I've been seeing people with like 15 credit, and I'm like, why do you have so?
I ain't gonna lie. I do got a credit card from hell. The Walmart. Fucking hate it. Absolutely. I ain't ashamed to tell nobody. Don't. If you ain't got one, sorry, Walmart, but don't get as addictive, man. That is the worst. All my other credit cards, though, you feel me? Like, as long as you do right for real. I don't know why everybody like, is y'all just getting the card and maxing them all of them out? Like, what is y'all doing with these credit cards? You know?
Yeah.
I know what I did with Walmart. I ain't gonna lie, I'm ashamed. I paid them though. I'm telling you, I paid them. Don't let it go bad. Pay them motherfuckers. But oh my God, don't get one. Don't take nothing that you know. You know, we got good credit. They get you, man. They offer you like they be offer. I be like, no.
And that's how people
don't give me that.
And that's how people have a whole bunch of credit cards and be like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, you gotta minimize.
Yeah.
But I strongly really encourage people to take those classes. I mean, I've started taking them. The financial financial literacy classes and like money management, all of those things. Like those things are offered by a lot of like financial institutions. And a lot of people don't take advantage of those. And I think it's important to educate yourself, especially in today's world and today's economy, to understand where we are, where we're headed. Because a lot of those things are touching. You can see like, for us, digital currency is about to be it already is a big thing. And how that's going to affect moving forward and how certain things are going to change because of it. So just go into some of those webinars, and you don't have to go nowhere. You can do it from your phone. So I do encourage people to take any classes, financial classes that your financial institution is offering.
Y'all's favorite little orange man is trying to fuck up the economy. I done told y'all his little third right goons are the ICE agents. And he's trying to fuck up the economy like his predecessor Hitler did. He's getting all this shit, getting his money stashed and making all his money stashing away in them Qatar and places like that, whatnot, whatever. And he's fucking up the economy over here. Yeah, cap the shit at 10%, so motherfuckers be borrowing more, and they keep on borrowing, they keep on owing us. That'd be good for us. Make the banks mad. Why they had to come to me, me to be in the president, the big head of Cheetos, them come to me to get money to stay afloat. I don't know. I just can't. I can't see him doing nothing that's helping anybody else except for himself. I don't care how he putting any spins on it. I don't care how he putting any spins on it. I don't see him doing nothing to help anybody except for himself. That's how he always been. Everything that man's touched has been turned to shit. Everything that he's touched. From the days I remember him being up in the USFL with Herschel Walker and the New Jersey Generals, owning that shit, going bankrupt. And then little business ventures all throughout, then behind that. Everything, I bet that man, I don't know how many times he filed for bankruptcy. But he is not a good businessman. He's trying to run his country powerhouse and folks into doing business with him and meeting his demands like he's some fucking Don. I just don't see him doing nothing that's gonna be helpful to anybody except for him. Maybe a few benefactors. I don't hear too much more about the people investing in that damn ballroom.
Right, what's going on with the ballroom?
You don't hear much about that. You don't hear much about them damn Trump phones and all that shit no more. The Bitcoins, this Bitcoin thing. What's going on with that? I mean, see, there's so much shit going on with this man. He keeping you distracted, moving. But everything's about fattening his pockets. So I'm gonna tell you, if they do that, if he do it, it's gonna be some kind of catch. Oh, and then he want to. What is it? He want the man to investigate because the man wouldn't cut the interest rates. He said, "Oh, you don't want to cut the interest rates with me. I want you to investigate." And that's what these motherfuckers doing. Oh no, he ain't doing. Yes, you is. At his call, whoever called it, we're gonna investigate motherfuckers.
Okay.
If anybody try to get his way of him getting him some paper with his crooked criminal ass, they gonna have to pay. So now, where them $2,000 checks at? He said he didn't know nothing about that. I'm just telling you, it's just too much bullshit. Too much bullshit.
You are right, and that is the perfect way to end the show because it's too much bullshit. So, with that being said, we thank you all because we have come to a close. We thank everybody for watching. We will see you guys Monday at 7, where Q will be joining us. We'll have all 4 again. Then we'll see you also Wednesday at 8. Also, just join us. Send us whatever you want us to talk about. We appreciate and love you guys. We'll see you on Monday.
Peace. You out? You're not out. You got extra time.